Welcome to the Mismatch. I'm Chris Vernon, and joining me as he does every week from TheRinger.com is Dave Jacoby. Jacoby!
We made it to the break, Chris Vernon.
We did. We made it to the All-Star break.
Here we are. The home stretch is upon us.
I said there would be some goofy stuff that took place throughout the week. Shout out to Jamal Murray for the goofy stuff with his career high 55 points. We had a couple other outcomes that were crazy.
I thought about you a lot as watching those 15 games on Wednesday night, and I was like, wait, the Lakers lost to the Jazz? I was like, Chris Vernon said that. And I was looking at the game, I was like, the Heat are up by 20, like on the Thunder?
You never know what is going to happen this last week and who already has their bags packed ready to head to All-Star weekend in some cases, and then in other cases, Turks and Caicos or Cancun or wherever they are headed to go. But what we do know is All-Star weekend is coming up this weekend, and I have a confession to make, Jacoby.
Oh, me too. You go first.
I have gotten excited about it.
I like the All-Star game. I enjoy watching it. I don't care.
Okay, so it has been the commonplace opinion to, who cares? They're going to try it. I don't know. We'll see if it works. And, because they made Adam Silver walked in, said, guys, please try. Larry Bird said, this is the home of basketball. Please try. And then they just made the mockery of all mockeries of it and tried to score 300 points in the game, and they're pulling up from half court, and nobody cared. And then we have to have these deep discussions about what's wrong with the All-Star game? How do we fix the All-Star game? And I am going to tell you that now, as I started reading the stuff about this weekend, and this is why I got excited, okay? So I'm about to tell the audience something that I would bet they have not gone out of their way to learn about or find out about, because until I started reading about it, I was like, look, I'm an NBA fan, so I'll probably flip it on, but I don't really care. But the way they're setting this up, first of all, the Rising Stars rosters, let me start with that.
They're crazy.
I love the Rising Stars format. I love the games. And a couple of years ago, what happened is, they had I remember the one, they had Jose Alvarado in it, and they had him mic'd up for the game, and he's going crazy, and he's talking crazy, and you can tell these guys are trying to win, and they're playing to a target score. And I was like, you know what? There's something here. This is actually kind of fun to watch. And what they're going to do is they're going to have these 4 teams, which the rosters are fun players, and it's a good mix and match of them.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say the G League team there's a guy named Dink Tate on it. And I was like, who is Dink Tate?
Tate.
I was like, who is Dink Tate? I have no idea who this man is, but I love him right now.
So here's the deal. They're going to play to 40, which, again, you could get anybody to try. If you're saying it's a game to 40, teams score 40 points in a quarter, right? So you're not asking for a big effort, right?
Mm-mm.
So they're going to play to 40, which I think these Rising Stars teams are really going to try, okay? So just hear me out on this. This is what I'm hopeful takes place. They play to 40. Then the 2 teams that win go and play each other. They play to 25. So right now we're a lower scored game, higher level of competition that they've got to get to. That team that wins then gets to move on to All-Star Sunday, where they are injected into the All-Star format, which is, again, 4 teams, and they are set up to play Shaq's OGs, which is a team of older players, which might very well likely be the guys that care the least, theoretically. But if the Thompson brothers and
the Thompson brothers are on the same team, if that's not enough to get you to tune in, what are we doing?
Or a team with Grady Dick and Jaime Jaquez and Kason Wiles, if all those guys are trying, and this could really be their moment, now they're making a name for themselves. Nobody ever sees these guys play in some cases. And now they're able to make a name for themselves because they're guarding and playing against Steph Curry, and they're guarding and playing against Nikola Jokic and these guys. I think the young guys are going to try to win the Rising Stars, and then they're going to try to win on Sunday. And that is the one thing. Ego is the winner because this now tests your ego. You don't want to get embarrassed by Stephon Castle and Jalen Wells and Zach Edey or whoever is on these teams.
Zach Edey, please.
Right? But you know what I'm saying?
Grizzlies
They're going to be trying.
Yeah, but
and that's all you need. You need one person really trying, and then everybody else will be like, all right, well, shit, I don't want to look stupid out here.
When I first saw the format, one of my questions was, in that Friday night Rising Stars championship game, right?
Yep.
Does the losing team or the winning team end up happier, right? And I would say if they were older and they had been to the All-Star game 4 or 5 times, the losing team would be happier being like, I don't have to lace them up tomorrow. I can just enjoy the rest of the weekend. But I think because of their age and because of the opportunity to play on the big stage and to guard LeBron and Steph and to potentially win that game because they're all great basketball players, I think that will motivate them. And I'll also say this about
Jacoby, the competitiveness you can't make a bigger name for yourself. If Stephon Castle goes out there and he scores 18 of the team's points, like, he makes a name for himself in a way that you cannot any other way.
Yes. And that OG's team is not focused on basketball performance over the weekend. They're not. It's a business trip. It's a business trip. And it's just another obligation they have during the weekend. They've got meetings, they've got appearances, they've got endorsement stuff they have to do. And then they have an All-Star game. They treat them all the same. But like, one of my like big picture major thoughts about the All-Star game is like, my expectations are there's going to be a bunch of great basketball players just kind of like lollygagging around and trying to make a highlight. You know what I mean? Like, they're just trying to throw a lob, trying to hit a deep three, trying to put it between someone's legs. And that's fine with me. I enjoy that. Like, my expectations aren't like, oh, well, in the 90s, they really wanted to win. All right. That was the 90s. That was the 90s. I don't care that they don't try. I still enjoy the exhibition, and I enjoy the performance, and I enjoy the pageantry, and I enjoy watching the best basketball players in the world dick around for a couple hours. It's fun with me.
Maybe I have just convinced myself of something that is not going to happen, but I think they're going to try. I do.
I think the format helps.
Because you're not asking a lot. You're not asking for a lot of trying.
And we're not too far removed from competitive All-Star games. I think it was like 3 years ago. It was pretty close. The question is it close in the fourth quarter, right? And they've baked that in, so it will be close in the fourth quarter.
They're really just playing a fourth quarter.
They're playing pick up to 11 is really what they're doing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, the 25 number is basically pick up to 11 if you're going by ones and twos.
Well, and here's the deal. The reason I think that adding in the young team, like, all you need is somebody playing defense, and then other guys start playing defense. Like, if they come out and they were like actually like going to defend, then the team has to try and has to like run plays, or else they just look stupid.
Yeah, if you block my shot, and I'm an all-star, a 7-time all-star, right? You block my shot, that's gonna make me try to score on you.
Yes.
That, like, how could it not? Like,
that's
and again,
what I think.
We always act like these games are competitive. They don't take it seriously. These are professional athletes, man. Like, think about everybody who's listening to this podcast. I'm sure there's like maybe 2 or 3 NBA players or professional athletes. Everyone else is just a regular person. If you play at the park, you want to win. If you play Monopoly against your kids, you want to win. If you play Uno, you want to win. And that's not different. It's the way that it's been recently. Is if it's a 30-point lead, you're like, all right, well,
it's just been understood that nobody cares.
Yeah.
But if it becomes understood that if somebody cares, you just need somebody to care.
Yeah.
That's it. Besides Russell Westbrook, who always cares.
Yes. It's for me, the aspects, listen, like, the NBA doesn't pay us. You know what I mean? Like, I love the NBA product, but like, I'm not sitting here being like trying to shill for the league or whatever.
No.
My problem with the All-Star game is just like the utter lack of defense. Like, if you literally get out of the way to let someone dunk, then I'm like, all right, well, what are we really doing here? But if you play like a lazy pickup game, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with that.
I think that's going to be good. I think the dunk contest, I mean, again, in the absence of Stephon Castle doing something crazy or Andre Jackson doing something crazy.
Jackson Jr. I mean, I think Andre, you saw that putback when he had his belly button at the rim last week.
I'm not hopeful at all about that. I am furious about the 3-point contest because of that is like the best of the events. Everybody loves watching the 3-point contest. And now they were supposed to have this Steph and Sabrina thing, except they were going to have Caitlin Clark and they were going to try to get Klay Thompson. Of course, he was never going to do that, but he's going to be out on his sailboat, I'm sure. But you could have had Caitlin Clark and then replace her with somebody else, right? In the absence of Klay Thompson, then you could have found somebody else. But Caitlin Clark bowed out. And I don't care what she says. And this infuriates me to no end because my belief is Caitlin Clark bowed out because she just didn't want to hear it. She doesn't want to hear, well, if we're going to feature somebody, how come she's getting featured? She wasn't even in the top 20 in 3-point percentage. And it's like, because that's who everybody wants to watch. We're sorry we want to watch her, but we do. We want to watch her play basketball. And so it's rather than there be a whole slew of course they're featuring Caitlin Clark. And why didn't we feature the girl that shot the highest percentage from 3 in the WNBA? And it's like, okay, all right. So she bails out. She's not going to do it. And then now Steph isn't going to do the Sabrina thing, which, okay, fine. It was super fun to watch last year, but if we lose it, we lose it. The problem is the damn thing's in Golden State and Curry's not in the 3-point contest because of that. And it's like, he has to be in the 3-point contest. He has to. This is wrong. Like, add him.
They also put out a really goofy statement. They're like, we can't match what we did last year. Did you see that statement? It was like, sorry, we peaked last year and we don't want to put out an inferior product because it was so excellent last year. It's like, that's not how this works. If something is good one year, you do it again the next year. Like, what are we missing here?
It's crazy. And well, the other thing is this. If that's the reason he wasn't in the 3-point contest, because he was going to be featured doing that thing. Like the idea that he's not shooting threes in Golden State when they are hosting, it's crazy. Like, get Buddy Hield's ass out of there. Just swap.
And it's like Draymond and Moody in the skills competition is going to be your like Golden State Warriors representation on Saturday night.
No. So I'm super hopeful for the Rising Stars. I think that's going to be great. Super hopeful for the All-Star Game format that it can at least be watchable. Dunk contest, man. 3-point contest. I always like watching the 3-point contest. I just do. I like seeing who hits the most, and I like seeing who gets on the run. But the fact that Steph Curry's not going to be in the one in Golden State is absolutely ridiculous.
This will never happen, but I would love for Matt Barnes to take the celebrity game very seriously. I would just love that. I would just love him being like, I'm putting up 70. If there's ever an ex-NBA player in that game that would actually do it, like, I'm putting up 70, dog. Like I'm winning this thing.
Who was it last? There was somebody last year. Who was it? I don't remember.
I don't really watch the celebrity game.
No, it was Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons, like, he's one of those guys that wanted to prove he's awesome at basketball. And he's not awesome, but like, he wanted to prove he's awesome at basketball. Like, he was trying.
He was good. There's two types of professional football players. The ones that made a decision to play football over basketball, like the Myles Garretts and Micah Parsons of the world, and the ones who have like never touched a basketball before. And you're just like, right. What are you doing? We've all seen those guys in the basketball court too.
No, and you would rather let them get the rebound than the punishment it is when they don't.
There's a very brief celebrity game story. Jalen and Bill were coaching one year during the Grantland era.
Yep.
And Bill had Zach Lowe as his assistant. And Jalen was like, you're going to be my assistant. I was like, great, no problem. But they had like a contest to win for a fan to be Jalen's assistant, like officially. And Jalen's like, dog, don't worry about that. Just come with me and be with me. I'm like, all right. And Jalen's like he literally doesn't buy tickets to go to NBA games. He's like walks in arenas and sits wherever he wants. And I walk in with him and I'm sitting on the bench and I'm in the huddle and I'm talking to everybody, you know what I mean? And doing stuff. And at one point he was standing up and I walked over to him to like make some sort of substitution suggestion. Like someone like literally hadn't played yet. And I was like, bro, like you got to put like whatever mediocre R&B singer is in the game. And then I sat back down. And then later on, I got a tap in the shoulder like 30 seconds later. And they're like, yeah, you can't be here. You have to go.
What?
Yeah. I was like, because someone from the NBA like noticed that I was like on the bench and involved. They're like, you've got to go. And it's so embarrassing to like, to then have to like, it's like the second quarter. I was like in the huddles talking to everybody. I was like part of the whole experience. And they're like, you got to get out of here. They're like, I got kicked out of the celebrity game.
You didn't have a credential or anything or?
Not really. I don't know. I mean, there ended up being some Grantland people and I just ended up sitting with them and watching the game in the stands.
Who was on your team? Do you remember?
Embarrassing.
Do you remember at all who was on the team?
Oh, I remember it was in New Orleans and Kevin Hart was on the opposing team and Bill was coaching.
He was always funny.
Afterwards at the bar or restaurant or wherever we were at, I was like, Bill, like you messed up the substitutions. You kept Kevin Hart in crunch time and lost the game. And he's like, you got to give the people what they want. You got to keep Kevin Hart in the game. I was like, you had real basketball players. You could have won the game. He's like, listen, man, like it's entertainment. It's NBA entertainment. It's not NBA. And that was my celebrity game story. I felt really bad. It was a really, really humbling moment. They're like, bro, I got kicked out of the celebrity game.
Did they at least let you walk away? They didn't escort you.
No, right? They let me walk away. Yeah. Okay. But someone was watching. They let me walk away, but there was like a guy had his eyes on me as I walked away.
Being escorted away would have that's as humiliating as a kid. Right. Sir, come with me.
Yeah, like, I said fire Nico on the Jumbotron. That's what happened. Escorted me away.
Did you see them chanting fire Nico at SMU?
Yes. Doug. It's like I just wonder
kids
about
are all right.
His kids. Like imagine like going to school and like the other dads at like, you know, the Valentine's Day party or whatever are just like looking at you like, bro, like you really traded Luka Doncic.
Do you think there's anywhere he goes that somebody doesn't yell fire Nico? No chance.
No, I think there is because I think a lot of people like when in person looking someone in the eye won't say things.
Not on this one. Not on this one. I'm telling you, it's bad. Like, I used to have, years ago, Chris Wallace, who was the GM of the Grizzlies on the show. And prior to, he had been the GM of the Boston Celtics.
It's Biggie Smalls, right? Christopher Wallace?
Yeah. And they had signed a player that it went all the wrong way. They gave a huge contract and it went all the wrong way. And I'm going to reserve the player's name for a moment because I'm going to tell you that Chris Wallace said, you have no idea what it's like to make a bad move in Boston. That's what he told me. He said, I had a seat in the arena, and every time I went down to the seat, I would go down, I'm sitting in my seat to watch the game, and fans around me would be going, Vinny Baker! Vinny Baker! Vinny Baker! They had signed Vin Baker, and it was a disaster. And he said, every game I went to, there was some guy, drunk Boston guy, going, Vinny Baker, every time I walked in. And so, trust me, sometimes when things go really bad with a passionate fan base, I promise you, Nico hears it everywhere he goes in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, for sure.
I'm sure. But I'll say that, like, you know, in prep for the pod, I was like, all right, let me look at the Rising Stars rosters. And I was like, damn. I was like, yeah. Like, these are, like, really interesting basketball players playing.
And there's some are left out, right? Because there's no Buzelis. Like even today.
Well, he's in the dunk contest, so I think that might be. Yeah.
But they left out. They replaced Scoot with Julian Strother today on one of the teams. Lively was going to be in it, and then he got replaced. Imagine if one of those teams had Lively on it. Klingon's not in it. There's a couple other guys that aren't in it too. So, some good young talent in the NBA for sure.
It'll be fun. Sure. And you know what? Like,
I'm hoping
the dunk contest. I think the dunk contest it'll be Castle and Andre Jackson Jr. will light it up. It'll be fine.
Well, it's the Mac McClung show. You know that.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's always the Mac McClung show.
I'm kind of over the McClung thing.
You're over Mac McClung.
I'm like, all right. and again, like I'm not afraid to say this into microphones. I root for Caucasian American basketball players in the NBA. I do. Why do I? Because I'm a Caucasian American. I do. I root for them. I want them to succeed.
And
Mac McClung, I'm like, I'm over Mac McClung.
Well, the problem with the whole Mac McClung thing is in the National Basketball Association.
Exactly. Yeah. If he was averaging 6 and getting 10 minutes a game, I'd be like, all right, fine.
That becomes the issue with Mr. McClung, is he's not in the NBA.
National Basketball
You can't tune in and watch Mac McClung unless you are watching on ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus.
Yes.
I saw the Memphis team. I was about to tune in just to text you, but I was like, I can't even click on that. I can't.
Oh, come on. They got Yuki Kawamura.
That's the one reason I was thinking. I was like, is Yuki in this game? And I was like, maybe not.
North Carolina legend Armando Bacot.
It was also like it was like 1:00 on like a Wednesday. And I was like, am I going to watch G League basketball right now? I'm like, I'm the worst.
So we are excited about what is to come post All-Star break. And what we have done is we have come up with 4 predictions each for after the All-Star break in the NBA. You want to start or you want me to?
You start. I have to, because I've got like 6, and I'm going to try to pick my best 4.
I'm going to start
based on yours.
I'll start easy. This is an easy one. This is to be expected, but I will just say, obviously some of these are going to be in relation to the standings. So, or do you want me to start off with a tough one or an easy one? A prediction.
Easy one. Let's ease into it.
We're going to ease into it. Okay.
Yeah, let's get crazier as we go on.
Okay, perfect. The 2 and 3 seed in the East remain the same, exactly how it is right now.
Yep.
At the All-Star break, and it sets up one of the most absolutely epic second-round series that we have had and we have desperately needed in the NBA in a long time, with the New York Knicks playing against the Boston Celtics. And hold on, I'm gonna add to this, because the Celtics are 5.5 back, so I don't think they're going to catch Cleveland. And then the Knicks are 8 back, so they sure ain't. But then there's a 5.5. They're clear of Indiana by 5.5. Okay, So the only thing that can be decided here is if the Knicks were to play 3 games better than the Celtics, then they could swap spots. And I will tell you, I will say, I think that could be extremely important. That the home court advantage in that series would be extremely important. And that if I could foresee a circumstance where that for sure goes to 7 games, and if Boston's 2, then they get to host that game 7. So these last, 27 to 30 games mean a lot towards that. If the Knicks some way, somehow could play 3 games better than the Celtics the rest of the way, they could overtake that, which would give them a home court advantage in that series. But I think we're on a absolute collision course. It's the one thing playoff standings wise that I don't think will change, and that we are going to get what we want, which is an amazing second round series against those teams.
It should have happened last year. The Knicks were a better team than the Pacers. That just decimated by injuries. And I'll say this about that series: if that potential series, I agree. I think 2-3 are pretty much locked. But I'll say this: I just wish that the Knickerbockers gave me any inclination that they could compete with the Celtics, because so far this season, it is just they've got curb stomped twice. Like, you remember the first game of the year,
Yep.
and the Celtics hit like 18 threes in the first quarter. It was just like, and all the moves that the Knicks have made, Cat, Bridges, OG, were with an eye on the Celtics, sort of like the Rockets when the Warriors were the top dog in the West. Yep. I don't think they've said it out loud into a microphone, but those moves were made with an eye on Boston to compete with that team. And in the 2 instances, they have had a chance to compete with that team this season. It has not been competitive. But I think in a playoff environment with Tibbs, if everyone's healthy, that'd be a really good series. Do
you agree with that? They will end up 2 and 3.
Yeah, for sure. I would not. And again, like, I love the Knicks. I would love to see it happen, but I would not pick the Knicks in that series. I would not.
Let it happen. Just let's see how the rest of this
if there's
plays
a home
out.
Court advantage and you get like 1 and 2 in MSG, and 7 is not impossible. But there's a lot of things need to break right for the Knicks for that to happen. And I've got a perfect follow-up for that of one of my predictions. There's been a little back and forth I've noticed online between my brother, Christopher Vernon, and the fans of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oh, no.
And you have disrespected them.
No,
you
I
have.
haven't.
You have disrespected the best team in the NBA time and time again. You said,
that was a long time ago.
Just let me have the floor. You have said, they won one playoff series against the Pelicans.
That did happen.
That is what those are the sort of the deer heads on the wall in their man cave is one. Right. You said that disparagingly. And every time that they beat the Grizzlies.
Disparagingly.
Yes, you have.
Just to calm down, Juice.
Yes, you have. You're getting sensitive about this already. I can tell you're getting sensitive because you know I'm right.
No,
that's why you're being defensive.
What are you right about?
And what is going to happen is Memphis is going to fall to the 4 seed. And there'll be a second round series between the Thunder and the Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh, really?
It's going to go 5, and the Grizzlies are going to lose, and you're going to get so many tweets, and you're going to have so many excuses, and you're going to be like,
this is so good.
We didn't have Santi Aldama for the second half of game 2. This is going to happen. I see the future.
I love this. My second prediction. The Oklahoma City nightmare scenario will come to pass. Dallas is going to fall down to the 9-10 game. They are going to then win the 9-10 game, and then they are going to play the loser of the 7-8 game, which they win.
Okay.
And Dallas then is the 8th seed facing the team that has the biggest problems with them, the Oklahoma City Thunder, in round number 1. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have like Golden State and Minnesota, let's say. And then you're going to have Sacramento.
How would Golden State and Minnesota happen?
What are you talking about?
Oh, like a 7-8?
7 and 8.
Okay. I'll see that. Sure.
And so one of those is going to lose. Let's say Minnesota. That's what I think. So Minnesota's going to lose, right? So now Dallas has to beat whoever, Sacramento, because I think Phoenix is falling out. So now Dallas beats Sacramento in that 9-10 game, and now they have to beat Minnesota to get the 8 seed, and they do it. They beat Minnesota, they get the 8 seed. Nightmare scenario, 8 versus 1 becomes, at that point, a healthy Dallas Mavericks team against Oklahoma City. So, look, you may want to hold your horses. You may want to hold your horses on round 2.
On behalf of all cognizant, logical, sane human beings, that is not a nightmare for the Thunder. What Thunder team are you watching?
What? Wait, hold on now. How many games have in the last 2 years? They've lost like a total of like less than.
No, I'm familiar with that. It's not the uniform. It's Luka Doncic.
No, they didn't have Luka Doncic the last time they played.
Team.
In fact, it was Spencer Dinwiddie. Was he wearing a Luka uniform? Is that who was wearing I forgot. Was Spencer Dinwiddie wearing a
Did you watch the game? You watched the game to get to the finals in Vegas, to get to the finals of the Emirates NBA Cup.
Right. That was against Houston. Right?
You watched it?
That was against Houston.
Am I wrong? No.
Yes.
There was a cup game between the Thunder and the Mavs.
Go look at what happens when the Thunders play the Mavericks. Go look at it.
I've seen it. It's something like they're like 2-10 in the last 12 or something like that, right? Do you think it's really a nightmare? Imagine you grew up in Oklahoma City. You grew up in Oklahoma City, and you draw the Mavericks in the first round. You think that they're like, oh, God, this is a nightmare.
Yes.
Hell no.
Hell
nightmare. No. Hell no.
Nightmare scenario.
Not even close. Not even close.
Now, I'll tell you this. You may be right about Memphis falling back, but even if they don't, bro, these vet teams, I'm telling you, these vet teams at the bottom of the West.
Is Memphis a vet team?
No. Listen! Open your ears. These vet teams at the bottom of the West are going to be an absolute bitch for Memphis, for Oklahoma City, for all these teams at the top. Trust me on this. Trust me. I promise you, the Clippers, if they're healthy, the Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, if they're healthy, the Mavericks, if they're healthy, vet teams win, Jacoby. Vet teams win.
I think good teams win, too. Sorry.
Okay, name them then.
Good teams. The Oklahoma City Thunder.
They were number 1 last year. Where the fuck were you? They were number 1
at the All-Star break.
They were number 1 in the league. Number 1. Number 1.
You know what? This is personal for you. What did Oklahoma City ever do to you?
Because
you got some mean tweets once upon a time.
No.
But that is not licensed to act irrationally.
Look, because I'm not in here every year telling you Memphis is going to win. In fact, this year, I would tell you they are in big trouble if they draw the wrong team in the first round.
Of course they are.
But what I am also telling you is when I talk about teams needing to get their playoff scars and veteran teams win in the NBA, and that is just always thrown aside, and then every year it comes to pass. Every year. Teams that you would not – Dallas was not nearly as good as Oklahoma City last year.
In the regular season before the trades.
Right, and then they had the playoffs. And then it was a different world. And all I'm telling you is it's a different world once you get to the playoffs and there's a bunch of guys that have been through it and they've got 50, 60, 70, 80 playoff games under their belt in some cases. It's a totally different sport once you get to the playoffs. So the idea that I discount them is only because of their youth. They are amazing. Amazing. They are an amazing basketball team where I was effusive in my praise earlier in the week about them. After I saw them in person, down 3 of their best players, and they boat raced Memphis.
2 nights ago, they started the fourth quarter with a 24-0 run.
I'm with you.
2 nights ago.
They play hard every single night.
I mean.
They play hard every single night.
That's ridiculous.
We'll get to the playoffs.
Nightmare scenario. It's Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis. Nightmare scenario.
There are some teams that are uniquely a problem for other teams. It happened 2 years ago. Memphis was the 2 seed, and they played against the Lakers. That's who they drew. And it was uniquely a problem for them. They could have drawn one of the other teams and been fine, but they drew the Lakers, and they got drilled. They were the 2 seed all year. You would think people would listen to me as someone who's rooted for a 2 seed 3 of the last 4 years. I know the way this goes. But they're different. They're different. They're different than the last 75 years of NBA history. I get it. I'm the only one that's telling you, watch out.
Watch out.
Young
Nightmare
teams.
Scenario. Nightmare scenario for the Thunder. Oh, my God. We have
draw Dallas?
Oh, nightmare. Oh, yes. God. Nightmare.
That's a nightmare.
Okay.
With a healthy Davis? Whew.
Okay.
Why can't they beat him then? Why can't they beat him?
We'll see.
Okay.
Kevin Durant, Zion Williamson, Joel Embiid are all playing their last seasons with their respective teams. And not only that, it's going to be known out loud. It's going to be discussed. It's already being discussed with Durant. Yeah. Wendy had a report. It's going to be known out loud that those 3 players, star players, are playing their last season with their team.
Is Embiid retiring?
I mean,
because that's your only chance
at that. Someone will take his contract.
No.
Somebody will take his contract.
No. Dude, the extension
Then Luka Doncic got traded a week ago.
No.
for Max Christie.
The extension hasn't even kicked in on the Embiid thing. No way.
Someone will take the contract.
No.
Someone will take it.
That's one you've broken me.
Max Christie got traded for Luka Doncic 2 weeks ago.
No.
He's gone.
Way. But he's playable. Like, okay, fine. He's a little chubby. He can play basketball. Like, if Embiid, you're acting like you can't sign up for the next 5 years of Joel Embiid. Come on.
Somebody will.
No way.
Somebody will.
I think he is. No way.
Where's KD going? Where's KD going next year? I have no idea. I can't even think of it. I can't even think of it hypothetically.
Have you noticed that these young teams, there's been articles that have come out about it. 2 of the teams that were rumored about them, both kissed the ring. You had Memphis kiss the ring the night that he scored his 30,000 points, and John Morant gives him this big hug and whatever.
Oh, right.
And then you had Houston.
And he's like, I don't even want the ball, bro. No, you can have it.
I know. And then you had Houston as well. Houston was another team that was kissing the ring and whatever. And so
Memphis is a young team. You said young team, so Memphis is a young team.
What planet are you on?
Okay.
What?
No, because you were talking about how veteran teams win in the playoffs, and you're so high on Memphis. I was just making sure we're on the same page.
What? When did I tell you I was high on Memphis's playoff hopes? When? When did that happen? Never. We text all the time. And then you come on this pod and you're like, act like I'm Mr. Homer. And you know very well, we just had a discussion. My team can't beat good teams. Your team can't beat good teams. So where do you get that I think they're going to win a title?
Overtime against the Hawks a couple nights ago.
We start 2 rookies in Memphis. We're not winning anything starting 2 rookies. The only prayer I'm praying Vince Williams can become the starting small forward. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. If you wondered.
That's tough.
Right? Next one. Okay, I'll do this because you just did players that we're last seeing. It's the last time you're going to see these guys on the sidelines for their respective teams.
On the sidelines. Coaches?
Tell me when you stop. Tell me when I'm wrong.
Okay.
Doc Rivers, Jamal Mosley, Billy Donovan, Nick Nurse. Hold on. Chris Finch is in jeopardy with new owners. Sacramento probably moves on from Doug Christie.
You've been wrong. You've been wrong since the second.
I don't think they'll blame Budenholzer, and I don't think Willie Green will survive. I think we could have a big turnover. All right, where am I wrong? Where?
I mean, first of all, it's hard to say right now at this juncture, right? Because
I just did it.
It's difficult to say.
It's a
great
prediction.
job by you. Proud of you. God, Doc gone. Nick Nurse gone.
Somebody has to fall on the sword, and it's not players.
Chris Finch.
That's a new owner thing. If they go to the West Finals and then get bounced early in the playoffs,
that's what happened last year. Yeah.
It's
possible.
Coaches.
All of that's possible. I think it's it's one of those bets that you don't want to parlay. You know what I mean?
No,
I would make all those bets individually. I wouldn't parlay those together.
And let me just say, I think all of these guys are good basketball coaches. I don't think any of them are bad basketball coaches.
Yeah.
Some of them are very good basketball coaches. Chris Finch is a very good basketball coach. I'm just saying, you get new owners that come in, and if you go from West Finals to not making it to the second round, a lot of times these teams, that's the easiest thing to switch out.
I'd say Willie Green is an unproven head basketball coach, but it's hard to blame Willie Green for what's happening in New Orleans.
It's hard to blame Nick Nurse. It's hard to blame Billy Donovan. It's hard to blame, frankly, most of these guys.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers. Mostly they'll do we need somebody to unlock the offense. That's what they'll try to do with that, probably.
I got one for you.
All right.
Toronto Raptors make the play-in.
That is insane.
They've got
it's
wins.
Truly insane.
I told you as we get further on in the pod, the predictions will get spicier. Toronto Raptors make the play-in. You
already made me blow my wad with the OKC nightmare, so mine's already done.
So just hear me out. Hear me out. They've been playing well lately, right? I don't think like NBA fans are locked on Raptors games, which is totally fine. But they've been playing well lately, and they're healthy. And I thought this was a Cooper Flag team. I did. I was like, this is a Cooper Flag team. But they trade for Brandon Ingram and then give him an extension. They're trying to win games. They got some work to do.
They're mad at Tristan Thompson.
5 games out in the loss column away from being in the play-in. But of late, the Raptors have been playing inspired basketball. And I think the addition of Brandon Ingram and the indication that they obviously are going to keep him for years, they have no interest of just sort of bottoming out.
So I think this was another one of the. This was just, like a.
Oh, can I finish this point just for a second? I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. The Bulls are in front of them. The Sixers are in front of them.
Correct.
This is not so much a bet on the Raptors as it is against the Sixers and the Bulls.
Okay. So I actually had, as an addendum to my nightmare scenario for Oklahoma City, Dallas gets 8, is it could very well happen in the East as well.
Oh.
The nightmare scenario for Cleveland is that Philly,
yeah,
ends up 10, wins 2 games, and now they're 8.
That
and
literally that happened last year to the Knicks, and it was not a nightmare. That happened last year to the Knicks.
I understand. The Knicks they're not Philly. I mean, they're not. I'm sorry, they're not Cleveland.
No.
Cleveland is still a guy. Darius Garland's been in a couple playoff games. Evan Mobley's been in a couple playoff games. Jared Allen literally said the stage was too big for us the last time.
So 2 years ago.
Yeah. I mean,
Donovan Mitchell has,
if they have Joel Embiid available for a first round playoff series, that's a bad deal.
I have absolutely no
you don't think
no
so?
fear or hopes. I'm so done with the Sixers.
Oh, you're done?
Paul George had 2 points 2 nights ago. Maxey had 5 points. Maxey played 34 minutes and had 5 points Monday night.
My last one is a light one. Donovan Clingan is going to be the rookie we talk about the most in the last 30 games. So
how do I end the pod? Do I say close out this browser window?
What?
Like seriously, producer Jesse, how does this work? Can I just end it now?
You don't like Donovan Clingan?
Donovan Clingan's going to be the rookie we talk about the most?
The last 30 games of the season. So now they finally got bum-ass DeAndre Ayton out of the way by virtue
He was on fire when he got hurt. He was on fire.
I don't care.
Lighting up the league, leading the Blazers on a win streak.
They let Donovan Clingan play against Denver twice. The first night, in 20 minutes, he had 20 points and 21 points and 7 rebounds. Then he comes back against Denver. They play him 31 minutes, 17 points, 20 rebounds. Look, this rookie class has stunk. And there's like an opening here. If he plays out of his mind and has a bunch of awesome games the last 27 games of the season, I promise you, he's going. Who has had like stellar big nights that have gotten us excited this year from rookies? Not many. There's not many.
I mean, Reese Shea had a night like 2 months ago. I think Castle would be my guy that I would look at.
He is the guy. He is.
I think Castle would be the guy to look at because I think the Spurs, with the addition of Fox, are going to make some noise and they'll just be in the conversation of the playoffs playing and whatnot. So I think that Castle will be discussed. Remember, you said discussed. Castle will be discussed way more than Clingan because they're not even going to be touching the.
Clingan's going to have the biggest nights of any of the rookies. That's what
I mean.
I think that was a foreshadowing of what's going to take place these last 25 games. I do. Not 17 and 20. But I'm saying like big nights where we're like, what the hell? This rookie in Portland is getting these crazy stat lines.
Okay. It's okay to be wrong. You know what I mean? It's okay to be wrong.
What am I wrong about?
Clingan, I don't think we've even mentioned Clingan on this
He
pod.
hasn't been playing.
I don't think we've mentioned him. And he's going to be the most discussed rookie?
He hasn't been playing. If he's going to if DeAndre Ayton's out for a month, this guy's going to play every night. You're going to be on to Kling Kong. You're going to be on to it.
Oh, I like Kling Kong.
You're going to love it.
I do like
this guy is good, man. He's good, and we need an awesome rookie. We're starving for somebody to have
I got a couple of quick hitters for you.
Let me hear it.
The Houston Rockets free fall just continues through the end of the season.
No way. They just need Van Vliet back. That's all.
It's going to continue through the end of the season.
No way. That's no.
I don't think it's
a Van Vliet problem.
Thing. No.
Now you could say that Van Vliet getting hurt should not have had this profound an effect on them, but it has. It has. They looked like an AAU team before Van Vliet was there, and they look like it again when he's been out.
Yeah.
They don't pass the ball. Whoever's got the ball, it's been a mess. They need an organizer, an adult.
Let me try another one on you then.
Yeah. How dare you? I love Houston. I think they're fun.
I think they're fun too.
And they defend every night. They need him back.
All right, here's another one.
Okay.
The honeymoon is going to end.
Uh-oh. For who?
Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler problems. There's going to be some real alpha male versus alpha male energy that is going to blow up on camera during a game towards the end of the Warrior season. Right now, everything's great. We're two dogs. Two competitive guys that play defense on the same page. He told Steph, now we got one last run because we got Jimmy. You saw that quote. I know you did. Everyone saw that quote. I think that the honeymoon is going to end. It's going to be like the Real World. I watch a lot of Real World where everyone's friends for the first 2 weeks. We're all hanging out together. We're best buddies. But then on episode 14, they're all fist fighting naked in the kitchen. That's what's going to happen to the Warriors. Fist fighting naked in the kitchen.
Here's the real question. Do you think he crapped his pants?
Yes, he did. I don't know what the hell that was. You know what? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Did not crap his pants. Sat on something on the bench.
Wait. Did you just literally change your opinion within a sentence?
Have you met me?
Did he crap his pants?
Have you met me?
And you said, yes, he crapped his pants.
Yes,
Wait, yes. No, I'm going to say he sat up.
Yes, because I've been thinking about this all day. Honestly, I was like, Verno is a serious journalist. I'm not going to bring up the fact that Jimmy Butler crapped his pants. I was like, Verno is a respected basketball thinker. I'm not going to bring up the fact that Jimmy Butler crapped his pants in white shorts during a basketball contest yesterday because I have respect for the Mismatch listeners. Dude. And Kevin O'Connor would never. Okay? I have to say, something happened.
I tweeted it out because it elicited maybe my favorite headline of the year from TMZ Sports, where it said Jimmy Butler has stain on back of his pants, comma, fans suspect poo.
Like P-O-O?
Yes.
Poo?
Yes. Fans suspect poo. And then it had it had a list of all these tweets and people saying oh my God, Jimmy Butler crapped.
Was Paul
fans.
Pierce mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
Not mentioned?
Oh yeah, there were pictures of him in the wheelchair or whatever.
Yeah.
There's no way, right? There's no way it was actually.
No,
feces.
I don't think so. No.
It would smell. I mean, it would just be so rank. If it smells horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it also there's a large real estate stain. That wasn't a little spotting.
But it is. I also have a very tough time with the. I have a tough time with the. How could that? It's a very unique spot to have a stain.
I was thinking. So the only thing I've been thinking about this all day long.
It's kind of like when you piss on yourself and then you have to say, "I spilled my water."
That's not happened to me.
It's never happened to you.
Oh. Two things. Number one, I've been thinking about this all day, and I came to the conclusion that he sat on something on the bench.
Okay.
Because if that actually happened, right?
What could he have sat on that was like brownish yellow?
That's an interesting question, Chris.
Maybe like a nutrition
I don't really have a solid answer
like
for
a
that.
nutrition bar.
Yeah, I don't have a solid answer for that one. Like the guy behind him had like a Zin in and was like spitting on his thing, like
or like a power bar.
Yeah, I
sat on a power bar.
I don't tell a quick personal story since we're sharing. I was watching the World Cup final at my great friend Zoe's house, and she was making espresso martinis, and I had two. And I had a great time. And my wife went somewhere else, and I was walking to my favorite Vietnamese restaurant. And it just happened, bro.
No.
It happened right outside the restaurant.
You crapped your pants outside the restaurant?
Like I was literally like 15 yards away from the toilet in the restaurant. And I'm standing in the middle of the street in New York City. And it just happened. It wasn't like a little bit. It just happened. I'm talking like a major situation.
Wait, the espresso martini brought this upon
I think so. I don't know what else it was, but it was like I can't express the volume of what was now in my pants. It wasn't like a little bit.
Oh, come on.
So I go to the restaurant and I go to the bathroom. I do everything I can to clean it up, right? And I can't even eat at the restaurant. I can't even look at anybody that works there. I just leave, right? My favorite Vietnamese restaurant. Shout out to Nha Trang on Baxter Street.
What was this? If you say last week, I swear to God.
The World Cup Finals.
Wait, like 2 years ago?
Yes.
This is within the last 2 years.
So no matter how much you clean it up, like there's still some residual funk going on. So I get on the subway train.
Oh, no.
The Q train. And there's a guy that recognizes me on the Q train. No. And he comes over.
No.
And he doesn't just like give me a pound. He sits next to me. Because I'm on the train, so I'm kind of stuck. No. I'm not like walking down the street being like, hey, I'm late for a thing. I'm on the phone or whatever. So now I'm covered in feces talking to this guy. And he's asking me questions about like the NBA.
But in fairness, you just blend in on the subway.
Yeah, but then he's like, and then this guy's like, it stinks in here, right? I'm like, it's crazy.
You know how many times that guy's told that story to people? He's like,
well, he doesn't know that I pooped my pants. He thinks someone else did.
He for sure knew.
You think he knows?
Yeah, he for sure knew that you were the culprit.
And there's no one that loves this story more than my children. My children, they're like, tell me again, Dad, about the time you pooped yourself.
Oh, no.
But I will say this. Those are some good espresso martinis. It's a fabulous cocktail.
You want to talk about talking me out of something. If anybody ever offers me one of those, I'm never, I promise.
You know what? That's what happened. Someone spilled an espresso martini. Jimmy Butler sat on it.
Well,
that's what happened.
In fairness,
fairness,
what do we know about Jimmy Butler?
Loves coffee.
Which makes you crap your pants. He might have crapped his pants. I think this actually feeds into he possibly crapped his pants.
Jimmy Butler's Jimmy Butler and Anthony Edwards and Jordan Poole are the three basketball players that would admit that they crap their pants.
I don't agree with that.
If Jimmy Butler, I think, would just admit it. Be like, yeah, dude, that's how hard I play. That's how hard I go.
I don't think anybody would admit it. He will.
I think Paul Pierce admitted it when he didn't even do it.
How did Kevin Love not Instagram about this?
You're a brilliant mind. I mean, Kevin Love has been chronicling every Jimmy Butler move.
Every single thing.
Yeah.
And then he poos his pants.
He's silent on this?
And then he poos his pants. I mean, what kind of odds could you have gotten that Jimmy Butler poos his pants before Pat Riley?
I love the idea of like, because like the people here at the Ringer are like so serious about like the articles they write and put up, and they pour over words and grammar and things of that nature. I love the idea of the TMZ editor being like, we can't put crap in the headline, and they're like, all right, what about feces? Like, that's too scientific. Let's go with poo. POO. What about poop? Should it be poop or poo? Like, let's go with poo. No P.
P-O-O. Fans suspect poo.
Poo.
You think him and Draymond? Do you think
Jimmy Butler pooped himself in the game last night, 2 nights ago?
I mean, I if my options are that happened or he sat on something, I think I have to go with that option. Yeah, I think I suspect poo as well.
No. The white uniforms are a tough look for him. Then
really tough.
Like
really
God,
tough.
we couldn't have been in the city editions.
Well, Andy got the charge on Kyrie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Kyrie
might not have gotten it his way.
Kyrie drew the charge.
Yep. All right, we're headed to All-Star Weekend. Hopefully, everything turns out. We're both very hopeful about this being entertaining. We're not going to have a show next Tuesday, but we will be back a week from today. Thank you to our executive producer, Jesse Lopez, as always, and Jacoby. I'll talk to you next week.
That's right.